Being a solo player in Destiny can be amazing and frustrating at the exact same time. Sometimes you're happy just chilling, playing strikes and Crucible and whatnot, but then sometimes you see Guardians with the best loot in the game from endgame activities like raids and dungeons, and you wish you could consistently do these activities to get the same loot that they have. But it's hard because you have no clan, or you simply just don't have any friends that actually play Destiny. But lucky for you, this video is exactly what you need. In today's video, I want to cover exactly how a solo Guardian is going to be able to consistently complete endgame content like the raids, Grandmaster Nightfalls, dungeons, and much more. Now, just to be clear, this video isn't for those players who are trying to complete these activities as a single Guardian. This video is for those of you who feel like they are good enough at the game to do all of these endgame activities, but they don't have enough friends or they can't find any more Guardians to do these activities with on a regular basis. So if you're a solo player and you're trying to get that endgame loot, stick around for this whole video because I'm going to explain exactly how. So like I said, I want to go through step by step exactly how you as a solo Guardian are going to be able to consistently do raids like Crota's End or Root of Nightmares, even farm dungeons for that sweet loot. And don't stress, it's not as hard as you actually think. So if you do go on to enjoy this video and find it useful, feel free to drop a like and subscribe down below. Now I've broken this guide up into 5 simple steps, so like normal, let's start with step 1. Step 1 is to figure out exactly what you want to get from these endgame activities. For most of you, I'm sure it's armor or guns, but if you're after triumphs or something like that, that is okay too. Just figure out exactly what you want to get. So because there are so many raids and dungeons, it means there is a lot of loot to be had, and there is also a lot of weapons to craft. So to make things simple from the start and make sure you get a hang of actually looking for groups and doing these raids consistently, you need to make yourself have a short list of items that you want to get. So let's say you like a few of the guns from the Root of Nightmares raid and you would also love a conditional finality. I would make it my first preference and priority to make sure that I can nail down doing Root of Nightmares consistently every single week before I can move on and do multiple raids in 1 week. There's no point going into this with the mindset that you're going to do every single raid in Destiny 3 times per week. It's just not going to happen if you're new to raiding as a solo Guardian. So from the start, just keep it simple and aim for a couple guns at a time. Moving on to step 2, this is the most important part of this entire guide. You are going to need to figure out exactly how to do the activity before you jump in and try and do said activity. For me as a solo player, I find it very frustrating when I go to find other players to help me do a raid and they join the raid acting as if they know exactly what to do, and when push comes to shove, they have zero idea what to do. It is very frustrating. If you just tell me from the start that you don't know what to do, that's okay. I'll probably try and help you figure out how to do it. But if you're gonna join up and pretend like you know what to do, and then when you're asked to do something, you don't do anything and it causes the group to wipe, this is going to anger a lot of people. So all you need to do as a solo player is make sure you understand the basic mechanics of whatever activity you're going into, whether that be a raid or a dungeon. There are hundreds of amazing content creators out there that want to help you as a Guardian, including myself. So pick the activity that you want to do, whether that be a raid or a dungeon, and look up a simple guide on YouTube. These creators do amazing guides with a step-by-step detail exactly how to do every single encounter or phase or whatever the activity is. There's going to be a guide out there. So I recommend studying the guide, learning exactly how to do the activity before you even think about going into the activity. Now I know there's a massive difference between just watching a guide on YouTube and actually getting in there and trying it, but at least if you've watched the guide and you understand the basics and you sort of know what to do, it's going to dramatically help you when you actually get in there and try it. Moving over to step 3, this is to figure out exactly which guns you are going to need when you're doing this activity. This is probably the second most important step to this guide. Having the right guns for certain parts of an activity is a must. Guns are essentially the most important and the main part of Destiny 2. Having a good ad clear loadout for a heavy enemy density area is very important. There's no point in trying to kill 30 plus Thrall with an auto rifle with no area of effect ability like Incandescent or Firefly or something similar. The same goes for having the right weapons to do damage against bosses. There's no point in using a linear fusion rifle over a rocket launcher for certain bosses in the game. So you need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it and what what guns to bring. All of these raids and dungeons in Destiny have multiple encounters, and for every single encounter you could need a whole new set of weapons, so you need to make sure you have the right weapons before you head into the activity. On my channel specifically, I have multiple videos that cover great weapons for all solo players. Some of these weapons are very simple to get, you can probably go and get them right now, and these weapons are vital for all players to have if you want to do endgame activities. So if you haven't seen any of these or you're confused, go check out my channel and go see some of those videos. So at this point in the guide, you should know exactly what you want to get from these endgame activities. You should also know exactly how to do said activity, and you should also have the right loadouts and the right guns to do these activities. So in other words, you're basically ready to head into the endgame content of Destiny 2. Step 4 is to join the Discord that I have linked in the top of the description. This Discord is the #1 Destiny 2 LFG third-party service that is out there. Without this Discord, I would nowhere near have anything that I have today in Destiny 2, from all of my raid exotics to all of my raid craftable weapons. I would have none of this without this Destiny 2 Discord. This service has helped me do many raid runs with randoms, fill in my groups, finish triumphs, get titles, farm weapons, you name it. I've done everything through this Discord. It is an amazing service. And no, I am not sponsored by them. This Discord has certain channels for everything, from PvP to strikes to story content, all the way up to endgame content like raids and dungeons. So not only can you use this Discord and LFG server for endgame content, you can actually use it for everything in the game. Whether you want to find an Iron Banner team or you just want to farm some strikes, this Discord has got it for you. So anyway, once you're in the Discord, you need to learn how to navigate and figure out all the lingo that the people use in this Discord. Eventually, you will get the hang of it, but I'm going to try and simplify and tell you about the most common things that you will see in this Discord. So first off, you need to decide what you're using the Discord for and what activity you're actually going to do. So over on the left side of the Discord, you can scroll down to where it says PvE LFG channels. In this section is all of the PvE sections in Destiny 2, from raids, story missions, nightfalls, etc. It's all in this section. So, as an example, I'm going to click on Crota's End because I want to do a Crota's End run. Now, in this chat, and for all chats in the Discord to be fair, the most common thing that you will see will be something that says LF2M, fresh run, or something similar. To simplify this, the LF2M stands for looking for 2 more players. The number 2 in this situation is obviously variable depending on how many players that this certain Guardian is looking for. It could say LF4M, it could say LF3M. Now after this section, people usually like to add what they are actually doing. So they might add something like fresh Crota or red border chest. Now this is pretty simple. This is just what they want to do in that run, whether that's a triumph or they're looking to do a master raid, or they just want to do a run with a red border. After the LF2M, it will put in a simplified version of what they're trying to do. Now sometimes, but not all the time, there will also be a little something that says RR8 or some random number after the letters RR. What this stands for is raid room and then whichever number they say. So if you keep scrolling down on the left in the Discord, you will notice that there are hundreds of raid rooms. This is where you can join you and your group to talk about the activity that you're going to do. So if they say something like RR8, it's most likely that most of the players that are doing this activity will be in Raid Room 8 to talk and do the activity. So join up so that you can chat to some new friends. Now finally, at the very end of their message, there will be a join code. So it should say something like /join space and then their name with a hashtag and then a bunch of numbers. This is essentially their join code. For an example, my join code is Eternal #3331. That is basically just their Guardian ID. So in the chat bar in Destiny, there is a bunch of commands that you can use. One of them is /join, and then if you put someone's Bungie ID, it will force join you into their fire team as long as their fire team is open. This is essentially how you will join the fire team without having to receive an invite or a friend request or something similar. So if you're on PC, you can actually just copy and paste this from the Discord straight over into the chat bar in Destiny. If you're on PlayStation, you'll have to manually type it out, but it shouldn't take you too long. And that is essentially how you will join other players that are asking for help for you to join them. Now let's say you wanted to host a group and you want to invite people to your raid. You can do this, but you just have to type out basically what I've just summarized. So as an example, if I was trying to create a raid and I wanted to do Crota's End, I would head over to the Crota's End and then I would type in the chat LF5M, meaning I need 5 more players. I would then write something like fresh quota, raid room, whichever one's free, and then I would put my join code by saying /join eternal #3331. It is very, very simple, and it's just that easy. Now, step 5 is just to simply do the activity. You're set. If you put all of these steps together, you can consistently do endgame content like raids and dungeons. The hardest part of this whole guide is actually learning how to do the raid, but there is no better way to learn it than to actually get in there and do it. But that is basically it. If you can consistently put all 5 of these steps together whenever you want to do a raid, you can consistently do raids and endgame content every single week. It's really not as hard as you think, as long as you are confident in your skills and you know how to do said encounter. As long as you have some decent guns, you can jump into this Discord and learn how to use it, and you will be doing raids consistently every single week. A lot of solo players out there just simply don't want to do endgame content, and that is okay. Everyone has their reasons as to why they may or may not want to do any endgame content, but if you are one of these players that doesn't want to do these activities, I really recommend you at least give it a try. Doing raids and dungeons is by far the best content that Destiny 2 has to offer. I have the most fun playing Destiny 2 when I do this endgame content, and I get amazing rewards from it. So if you play Destiny 2 and you haven't done raids or dungeons, you are seriously missing out on a lot of content, and you're not really getting your money's worth. So I encourage you to at least give it a try. Just before I wrap this video up, there are a few key notes that I want to mention that you should be aware of. Number 1 is be prepared to fail. You're not going to get it done on your first try every time. It could take you a few hours to clear the raid, but that is okay, just be prepared to fail. Number 2 is be prepared to change group multiple times. It's okay to leave a group and find a new one. If you're stuck at a boss and you simply just can't do it because some players just aren't holding their own, it is okay to leave and find a new group to save you some time. As rough as it sounds, there is no need for you to be stuck with a group for hours on hours trying to do a simple boss because they can't do it. It's okay if you feel like you're holding your own to leave and find a new group. Number 3 is you probably won't get the loot you want, so don't give up after the first few tries. Number 4, like I said earlier, make sure you have the right guns and loadout for the role that you're doing. If you're an ad clear, make sure you have ad clear guns. If you're playing Warlock, make sure you're using Well of Radiance. And finally, be friendly, don't rage, and just have fun. There's no point in getting stressed out and all worked up over a raid. If you don't want to do them, that's okay. This video is just for those of you that actually want to try and get more endgame content done. But if you don't want to, that's okay. But anyway, Guardians, that will wrap the list up there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you found this guide useful, feel free to drop a like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. I wish you Guardians the best of luck for all of the loot in Destiny. If this video inspired you to get back into Destiny, you've made me happy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.